Good afternoon everyone. My name is Robbie Mackenzie and I'm the head boy of Hamilton Grammar School. I'd like to welcome you all to South Lanarkshire Council's Instrumental Music Service Spring into Summer Concert Series. Pupils from across South Lanarkshire schools have worked remotely with our instrumental music teachers to produce a wide variety of performances. Each concert will feature our wonderful pupils as well as an interview with some well-known faces. Concerts will be released on selected Friday afternoons on the Instrumental Music Service YouTube channel between now and the summer holidays. To ensure you don't miss a concert, please follow the Instrumental Music Service on Twitter, searching for @musicslc and turn on notifications.
Today in our Spring into Summer concert, Mrs. Duffy, the coordinator, had a chat with Mr. Sneddon, the Chief Executive of South Lanarkshire Council.
Good afternoon, Cleland. Thank you very much for joining us today for our Spring into Summer concert series. It's very good of you to give your time today.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Elaine.
Great. So we're interested in what your thoughts are on music, because music education is very close to our hearts. And of course, we've all come quite a journey this year. And throughout this term, our pupils are going to showcase their talents. So we were wondering, what was your experience of music when you were at school?
So there was a bit of musical talent in the family. So my mum and my two sisters played piano quite well. Kind of skipped me. So music education has moved on massively since I was a kid. So late 1970s at school in Wishaw, I can recall a class of 33. We were all handed out a triangle each. And the teacher accompanied us on the piano, and you had 33 pupils with a triangle trying to make a tune. So things have moved on massively since then. I was given a set of drums when I was about 14 and set about them, playing them like Animal out the Muppets, but only took about a year to realise I had no sense of rhythm either. So I look at people with genuine musical talent as if they've got some magical gift, etc. So as much as I love music, unfortunately, I haven't got a tiny scrap of any talent.
Oh, listen, I'm sure that is absolutely not the case. And by the sounds of it, you've got a good set of ears anyway, so you definitely have an appreciation of music, which is just as good, you know. And I'm so glad that education has come on and that we don't give out 30 triangles all at once. So I think we'd be having to give out a lot of earphones as well if we were doing that.
Oh, it's remarkable how talented our young people are, and just the opportunities that education resources can provide through our schools. And we see that in some of the videos we've seen this year, just how good our young people are.
Yeah. We're so sorry that we've not been able to have you at any of our live performances since you've just been with us now for over a year, but I'm sure we'll get you there in the near future. That's certainly what we hope for. But tell me this, what kind of concerts would you attend? So what was your first gig? What inspired you when you were younger?
Well, when we were little kids, our parents kind of dragged us along to things like, you know, the Corries and things of that nature. But if you're talking about a proper rock gig, I think my first one was seeing the Stray Cats in the Glasgow Apollo around about 1981 thereabouts, and it was fantastic. You know, to be at a live gig. Now Old Apollo, if people remember it, some people will, was just a fantastic venue, great acoustics, and it actually moved. You could feel it bouncing with people. Probably not the safest thing, but you could feel it actually moving with people to the music. So that was the first real kind of gig. But as I moved on, I went to Aberdeen as a student, etc., and I worked in a range of bars. I had the opportunity to book bands, live acts. So I quite often caught acts that had been in the charts, maybe in the downslope of their career, and the post-punk era. So I had all the kind of bands like UK Subs and I used to book them. So we would have live acts every week, and there was always, because I went to Robert Gordon's in Aberdeen, and you had a load of different venues that you could go to and see live acts almost every night of the week. So it was a regular feature for me, and it's a real pleasure to be able to go and see somebody playing live, and there's nothing like it. You know, you can watch the videos, etc., but the excitement of being at a gig. I've seen some rotten ones as well, to be honest, but for the most part. And just as I'd give you a little anecdote, and this will be for the people who are a wee bit older. One of my friends once came back and said, "I've seen a fantastic act last night in the venue in Aberdeen." He said, "Terrific band," but it was a wee bit worse for wear. And we said, "Well, what's the name of the band?" And he couldn't quite remember, but eventually he said to me, "I'm sure it was Prefab Cauliflower." And there's been no Prefab Sprout made it to the charts shortly after that.
I was reading about that in your blog, actually. I thought that was so funny. You've got so many great stories. But it's great to remember your student days. And I mean, we hope that that's what we will do for our pupils, that they will remember their school days. And please don't tell them at the townhouse. But when we go there for our Battle of the Bands, quite often we've got the floor bouncing down there as well.
Quite right.
Keep that to yourself.
I once nearly managed to book Zig Zig Sputnik, and again, this will be for people of a particular age, but I did meet the guy who had worked, he was the bassist, I think, in Zig Zig Sputnik. So this was the archetypal manufactured band, meant to be this kind of futuristic thing, and they hadn't charted yet, and I met the guy, Tony James, I think his name was. I met him in Aberdeen, and I was trying to persuade them to come and do a gig, but of course it then all exploded and they became very, very big for a very short period of time. So yeah. That was my nearly story.
Oh, good memories though, good memories. definitely missed live music this year. I mean, we all have, and as you quite rightly said, there's nothing like it. You know, there's nothing to replace it. But what have you been doing in this last year to try and replace it somehow? Personally, in my own house, we've managed a wee bit of a kitchen disco on a Friday night. But what have you done in your household?
Well, it's definitely not been dancing, because anybody who's actually seen the dance would understand. In terms of having two left feet, the last pair of shoes I bought was a pair of flip-flops. So I don't have any particular talent in that as well. Something that I like to do is almost a kind of musical meander. So if you use things like YouTube or other music streaming services, you quite often get selections. So if you're listening to one song, it'll give you some suggestions, etc. And you start out listening to one particular type of genre of music, and then just meander your way of an evening, just picking the selections, etc. And you can be in a completely different genre, and you'll have gone on an amazing music journey, reminded yourself of old songs, heard some new stuff, and it's a good way of spending some time. So that's a good way. And I've got a very, very wide taste in music, so you can have everything from punk right through to some fairly out there R&B or hip hop or something.
And I'm sure we'll expand your taste even further once we get you back to your live concerts. Oh, that's great. And I think everyone will remember forever what their lockdown listening has been. Is there any one thing in particular that you think that's your go-to? Or is it just generic?
I have a really wide range but there's always stuff that you default back to. So I think back to, there's always Morrissey. So Smith's, Morrissey, etc. Again, for somebody of my era, that was the music, that was the background to my teenage years, etc. And all, if you know the music, all the kind of angst, etc., and all the things he was talking about seem to chime. So you're always going back and you're dipping into stuff like that. This year I've got quite into people like Warren G, if you know that type of music. Shaggy and Sting have kind of combined and actually produced a couple of albums now of music, which is really interesting, because you're getting a bit of reggae and you're getting a bit of kind of his version of music. One is a real go-to and go and look for it is a guy called Joseph, who's from the East End of Glasgow. I think he's from Denniston. So as a solo performer, he is absolutely outstanding. So he will be as big as Lewis Capaldi and these kind of guys, and Pill and Tini, this kind of west of Scotland kind of singer-songwriter sort of thing. And then there's always Susie Quattro. Just to point, I was actually looking at, because I do have the mug, she is again, just thinking about your childhood and growing up, part of the background there. So everything in between, go-to music. Music's been really important in this last year. I think it's a place of comfort, it's a place of familiarity, and a wee bit of a discovery as well.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So when it's all over and we're going back to live things, which hopefully will be at some point in the near future, what would be the first gig that you would book, apart from an IMS one, of course?
Well, I've sent a wee challenge to Benny Martin, who's the SLLC's Cultural Services Manager. I want Morrissey at the Townhouse. If he can manage to bag that. One of my colleagues, when I was in Argyll and Bute, managed to book Morrissey for the Queen's Hall in Dunoon. And it came pretty late stage. There was a lot of negotiations. It didn't look as if it was going to happen. And then he managed to secure it, and he managed to secure it on a weekend that I couldn't be there. I was gutted. So if Benny can scoop that, I'll be first in the queue.
I'll see you there then. Perfect. And finally, Cleland, you've been such a great supporter of ours over this last year, and we're so appreciative of that. And what do you think of what our young people have done this year? It's been a new experience for everyone, but I think it would be really good for them to hear what your thoughts are on what has happened within music education in South Lanarkshire and what they've achieved over this last year.
So you and I have spoken before, Elaine, and I've also had the opportunity to see a whole series of different kind of video footage that's been produced by some of your young people, and the quality of the productions that are there, the talent they're showing, and probably more than anything, the confidence they have is just outstanding. We were talking earlier, you no longer have the control of the managers and the agents and the record companies and so on. A young person can produce their own music, they can record their own music, they can upload it, and they can share that with the world. And if there's an audience out there for them, and even if there's not, they have the opportunity to put their music forward. But just that sheer ability to demonstrate their talent, to hone their skills, and to do that recorded presentation of their music. And whether you are an instrumentalist or whether you are a singer-songwriter, etc., there's something there for everyone, and you have the opportunity to share that, and it is absolutely outstanding.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I think they'll love to hear that. And do you think music brings a certain value to education?
Yeah, I mean, your educationalist will give you the proper background to this, etc. But it's like a second language, etc. If you have and you are immersed in learning a musical instrument or immersed in music, it helps your learning skills in a whole range of different ways. It has an ability to develop your learning skills, which are cross-applicable in other areas. So learning a musical instrument, yeah, you will learn that talent, etc. But it will also help you in a wide range of other areas of your learning. So yeah, why would you not?
Why would you not? Couldn't agree more. Cleland, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy our concert series.
I'll see you for the Morrissey concert.
Perfect.